Hello, it's Dr. Darnise coming on here, impromptu live, coming on live. See who wants to join me. I know I have not been specific about when I'm going to come on here. So if you were with me live, a couple of weeks ago, I said I'm going to make a habit out of coming on here live because I feel like it's a better way for us to have community. And so rather than me making videos, I will probably continue to make some videos also, but I feel like I want to make live streams. And so, and I have not, set a schedule. I mean, I have set a schedule, but I didn't tell you. So Sundays about this time is when I plan to go live. And I was going to last Sunday, but it was Super Bowl. So I knew everybody would be watching Usher like I was watching Usher. So yeah, so here we are, and I have my tarot cards because that's how I'm opening these sessions. I'm opening these sessions with tarot to just sort of for the collective. I'm going to say I'm going to be doing a general read for the collective and see how that goes. And I think what will, kind of influence it is who shows up. So if you show up early with me, like soon as you see that I'm coming on here live, then join me. Also, if you are on my list, on my newsletter list, you will know because I will send out newsletters and saying, hey, I'm going live. Remember, I'm going live on Sunday evenings, Eastern time. So, like I said, I am shuffling. I'm using the Rider-Waite deck, Rider-Waite Emma Smith Coleman deck. Y'all know. And so let me see what we got going on here. I'm going to be talking about not only just tarot, multi-dimensional life. How do we live this life as multi-dimensional beings? So on these live streams, I want to go into some spiritual topics that, I really have not gone that deeply into. So let's just say I'm going to be going into that. And I'm going to also be reintroducing my Patreon levels membership. Really simple and easy. It's either $3 or $5. $3 for house members who are supporting the channel. $5 for our new book club. And I am calling it the Black Legacy Book Club, Black Legacy book club and study group. Okay. So I said I am doing a reading for the collective. I have been shuffling. If you can hear me, I've been shuffling. Let's see what is the collective energy for Dr. Darnise's House of Religion, Magic, and Conjure. First card, I got a 3 of Wands, which suggests looking out over one's territory for what is next. The 2 wands behind him suggest that there are some things that have already been accomplished. So wands are actions, activities, taking action. And so 2 wands behind him, there are some things that have already been achieved. And then the third one is, now what? Looking out over the water. Now what? Watching my ships come in. Good stuff is coming in. My ships are coming in. Right? So for the collective, what are you looking out over? Are you taking note of what you have already achieved, what you have already accomplished? And now considering what else, because there's good stuff still coming in. And secondly, I have the Hierophant card. I'm trying to find it where it's not such a glare. Well, the Hierophant, there we go, suggests some type of authority. Some type of authority is something official, right? It's like the emperor with the monks and the keys to the kingdom. So, what kind of official capacity might be influencing your next endeavor? So, are you trying to, you collective, right? We trying to maybe get a job, looking out over the territory for some other activity, some job, some action, could be a trip even because you're looking out over the ocean kind of a thing. What are you looking out for where you might be looking towards some type of authority figure to recognize what you're looking at or what you're expecting to come in? And ooh, some people will be afraid of the death card, right? People will be afraid of it. But it just means transformation. It's a Scorpio card. It just means transformation. So, what needs to transform, which I think is pretty good? What needs to change if you are looking out at your next activity and you are perhaps dealing with some authority figure who's helping you determine what that is, like a potential new boss or, you know, I don't know, school? What's next? Because a change is afoot. There's a transformation, there's a change that is due. And I would say, here's the next card. So I would say it has something to do with work, right? This Eight of Pentacles has to do with work, laboring for your money. You know, it's that song, Working Hard for Your Money, Donna Summer. So for the collective, what are you, for the collective, what are you looking out? What are you looking to do next? Looks like you might be looking next to do some kind of work for money, right? And it will be a big change for you, be a big transformation, be a big change. And you are needing to hear from somebody. So that is my collective read. And what else I want to talk about? I wanted to talk about the multidimensional life. As we go further down the rabbit hole, as we go further down the rabbit hole of spirituality, what does it mean to be a multidimensional being? What does it mean to be a multidimensional being? And I will say it means to, first of all, acknowledge that there are multiple dimensions to our existence. This universe is more than just the 3D. And we've had enough people awaken in this life that we know that now, in terms of where we are as human consciousness. We know that we are, there's more than just this physical 3D world. And that we exist as more, or we exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Now, that might be a little hard to grasp. We exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Think of it this way, every decision that you did not make, every time you had a decision to make and you made one decision, there is also that version of you who made the other decision that exists. Everything All at Once. Remember the movie? It's a fairly recent movie. Everything All at Once. Everything All at Once. Now, for people who are spiritually minded, and so people who consider themselves to be star seeds, and this is not news to you, whatever label you like to use. I kind of don't like a label. You know, people who say I'm a star seed or, you know, whatever, light worker. I guess I will say, you know, I'm a light. I'll use the word light worker. And so I see somebody gave me a thumbs up. Okay, a light worker. I will go with that one. Sometimes we have, when we think of ourselves as a light worker, we have a challenge in living in the 3D. We have a challenge in sort of putting up with the 3D, meaning the life that we live right now, right? We like, okay, we live in a matrix and it seems like it's controlled by some dastardly people, and we all just have to get along somehow. We all have to go along to get along in this matrix. And so the 3D world is full of contrast and full of problems and, full of, you know, um, bad energies, right? And we have to deal with that as part of the 3D. And we do have to deal with it because that's 3D life. And so if you are a light worker, then you know that we have multidimensional life. We exist on more than one dimensions. And so we can't bypass this one. And that's what I'm trying to say when I talk about the light workers or those who feel like they've had an awakening. We can't bypass this one that we're in right now. If you think of, I just want to go on into the next dimension. We are in this dimension for a reason, and we can't just skip on by, right? We can't just skip it. We need to become masterful, proficient, experts in all of the dimensions because we're multidimensional beings. We do not exist in just one dimension. So, why are we thinking that, wow, my job is to get out of the 3D? We're already moving, right? We are already growing. We're already doing that. So, we don't have to worry about going. We're already going. The earth itself is already on her trip into the 4D. And so I just want to say, because I hear light workers say this so much, and people who are on their spiritual path, they're like, well, I don't really want to be in 3D life. But it's part of the experience because you can't be multidimensional and not be in one dimension. You see what I'm saying? Like part of our spiritual awakening, part of our spiritual path is to acknowledge that we exist everywhere all at once. And so it's part of our path to be part of all the dimensions. So I just want to give that little word because I think people who are on the spiritual path sometimes want to skip. And maybe you've heard that expression that says, we're trying to be so spiritually high that we are no earthly good. Well, we're here in the 3D to make a difference. And so if you are somebody who is on your spiritual awakening, you are somebody who you consider yourself to be a light worker or starseed, part of being in this dimension now, part of having incarnated in this realm at this time means that you agree to come in and help the collective. We agreed to come in and help the collective. And that's why I was doing a reading at the beginning, and I tend to start the live streams weekly with a reading for the collective because we're here for the collective. Are you about your spiritual awakening? And I see a couple people have joined me. Thank you very much. Put in the chat. Are you here? Are you aware that you're here on a spiritual journey? Are you on your spiritual path? And if so, then recognizing that we are here to help uplift the consciousness of the whole collective. So it's a lot for us. And I say us because I've been on this path for a long, long time. Well, my whole incarnation, as Darnise, right? I mean, no, but there's a point at which I think those of us on the spiritual path, there's an awakening that happens when you realize that you realize that you are one of those people who are shining a light. Sometimes, like on Facebook, if you follow me on Facebook, you'll see that I changed my profile picture to a lighthouse because I feel like that. I feel like I am a lighthouse in a lot of ways, and that I've chosen to come into this experience to show the way for other people. And I do that in a number of ways. Some of you know I'm a college professor, so I'm doing that for students. I teach religion and spirituality. I am also a life coach, right? People contact me for a consult. People find me on social media to ask me, will I do a consult? So if you're one of those people, I did put the details in the description about how to get a consult. how to join on Patreon, to join the book club. I've been talking about we can't let our own history go, right? We cannot let our own Black history go, no matter what these people say or try to do. So I said I was going to start a book club. And, there are different levels in Patreon that you can join. As I said, $2, $3, or $5. But anyway, as being on my path of spiritual awakening, I realized along the way what I am here to do while I'm living my life. What am I here to do? And so I'm asking you to think about that as well. What are you here to do? How do you know it? At what point did you get some inkling about what you're doing? What is your purpose? Why have you incarnated into this life? And it's not always something huge. Like people always say, well, in a past life, I was Cleopatra, or I was a king of something, or I was, some really big personality or some famous person. But a lot of times we are here to live our regular life and making an impact from where we are. Just being boots on the ground, so to speak, means we're grounding some divine energy. So if you're, somebody who's, homemaker or has your own business, or you work from home or whatever, and you're raising kids and, or taking care of people. Maybe you're a nurse, you're a teacher, you're a doctor, whatever you do, you work at 7-Eleven. Sometimes the people who do service work in restaurants, gas stations, they can really be those people who are enlightened and who come in contact with so many different people. Do you ever think of that? The people who are in service work, they come in contact with so many people that they are literally touching people, numbers of people. And so that would be a great position, actually. Our society doesn't tend to think much of people in service work like that, but as a spiritual teacher, that might be a great position, because you are touching so many people and sending them on the way. Maybe you're the one who pointed the direction for somebody else's spiritual awakening, right? Like I have a whole story about one of my mentors along my way when I was seeking, when I was having one of the times in my life when I was spiritually seeking. And this man kind of showed up into my life, and I swear he was like an angel who just dropped in when I was living in New York in the early 90s. And it's a very sort of odd story. It's a very unusual meeting of this man, this white man teacher who I took a class from him on a weekend, just sort of on a whim on a weekend, a spiritual kind of class I took from him. And he ended up being a teacher for me for, I can't really remember how long. It wasn't that long, maybe like a couple of months. But in that couple of months, he gave me a lot that I needed right then. He not only poured into me at that time and gave me a lot that I needed right then, but he pointed me in a direction that I needed to go next. Now, how many of you know about that? Somebody else can just point you, maybe their whole job in their life is an interaction with you where they point you in the direction of where you need to go next to make sure you're on the right path. Which kind of points me to another thing I was going to share with y'all is that I am using the number 444, the spiritual number 444. And here, right in here. And it's not like Jay-Z had an album 444, right? But the number 444 has been coming into my life a lot lately in synchronistic ways. And so of course I had to look it up, what it was, because I'm like, I think all repeating numbers are a spiritual number, meaning the universe is kind of winking at us. Your angelic mentors or whatever, they're kind of winking at us saying, hey, I'm here. Hey, did you notice? Hey, did you notice? Because I think a lot in life, we don't notice. We're so busy going along in our lives, we don't stop to notice the color purple, as they say. We don't notice the ways in which our own angels interact with us on a regular basis. Our own angels, our own angelic realm, they're interacting with us. God is always trying to interact with us. Um, but mostly we don't notice because we're busy and distracted. So I've been noticing 444 come into my life a lot lately, and so I'm using it a lot. Let me know in the chat what number you have, what numbers you see. Um, Let me know. So I'm using that quite a bit, and of course I had to look it up, and it says that it is a number of encouragement and stability, which I know the number four is a card of stability. It's a card because I'm holding the tarot right there. Number four is a number of stability, and something like the Four of Wands in the tarot deck represents a stable foundation, having a stable foundation. And so, as I've been seeing 444 a lot in my life lately, I take it as encouragement to keep going. You're on the right path. You are, in a stable place. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other because I have a lot of moving parts in my life, right? I have a lot of different projects that I work on, clients and students and people who want to be clients. um, and so I have a lot of things going on. And sometimes I get in that space of like, is it even worth it? Why am I doing all of these projects? Why am I taking on new clients? And so to see 444 or 444, let me know, yeah, you're on the right path. Just keep going, one foot in front of the other. So I'm curious. I'm curious because there's a few people here what numbers you work with. I'm curious. What's your sign? I didn't even say that. I said I was going to ask people too, what's their sign? I'm a Libra. I'm a Libra sun, Cancer rising with a Gemini moon. So what's your sign? And I've been encountering a lot more people who bring that up in conversation. What's your sign? And I'm happy to tell them because I really do feel like I am a Libra. And it's a little bit confusing for people because they meet me and I'm a Cancer rising, which, Cancer is like a very approachable, kind of emotion driven person, very loving, reputation for a Cancer. They're very, home oriented. They're very loving and emotional people. People make fun of them like they're crying all the time. And I'm so not that. But people find me very approachable. Everybody wants to talk to me out in public. Everybody wants to talk to me at the grocery store, wherever I go, people want to talk to me. But then I got my Libra and my Gemini, and we don't want to talk to nobody that much. So I'm like, oh, about that Cancer rising, that girl has left the building, right? So the Cancer rising leads people to me a lot. People find me approachable and want to talk to me and tell me their all their secrets or whatever they want to say, their life story. People want to share with me their life story. Even if I'm dancing in a club, even if I am dancing in a club, people will try to like corner me somehow and tell me about their life story. And I'm like, because I saw you on Facebook or Instagram and I know you're a life coach and I know you talk about these things all the time. And I saw that you were like, this, and this. And, what do you think about? And so they will start telling me their whole life story. And I'm like, I am in this club trying to just dance because, I love house music. Oh, what? House music. Yes. And I have been a real house head for 30 years. I don't even know how long, since I was fresh out of the house in the early 90s living in New York. Uh, anyway, I will be trying to dance or just be out socially and people want to come and tell me, or in the grocery store, literally. And I take that up too to be part of the mission, like to be somebody who is spiritually awakened and to understand that my role here is to be that lighthouse. And so as much as sometimes I just really want to mind my own business and not talk to people, my mentors always say to me, well, you can't turn the light off, you can't dim the light, and you shouldn't. And so for some of you who are also on your path and you have people come up to you and talk to you, whatever they do. Just remember, we incarnated into this life, into this dimension for a particular reason. And one of the reasons, in the broad strokes, is to help the collective move along, to help the collective awaken. That's where we are at this point. We are now at an awakening point where, have you noticed many more people talk about spiritual things across the world now? There are certain things that are just common language now. People talk about manifestation just commonly now. And but there's still a lot of help needed. There's still a lot of guidance needed. There's still a lot of back and forth. Oh, I see my computer's. There's still a lot of back and forth between what we might call our higher angels and our lower angels. And we can have a conversation too about what should we say, our non-human angels or guides, and their role in terms of helping us to awaken, us meaning humans. Who all is involved in the evolution and the awakening of the humans, right? So what levels of spiritual beings exist? People ask me all the time if I believe in evil, if I believe in evil entities, if I think there are demonic forces. And I said, well, I think there are some people who've said it very well about the nature. Life is yin and yang. It's black and white. It's not either or. And so, yes, we have the positive and the less positive, what we would say are less positive. We would say there are those energies or those entities that are service to others, and there are those energies or entities that are service to self. And so a religion like Christianity, you know, portrays those as like angels and devils, right? Angels and demons. And so it's a positive and the negative, and there's a spiritual warfare, they will say, in the language of, Christianity, for example. But we don't necessarily have to even use that language to understand that the universe is full. And there's the push pull, there's the both and. This is a universe where there's the both and. It's not an either or universe. And so are there evil entities? No, I won't say that it's evil. It would seem to us to be. But I will say there are service to self and there are service to others. And if you come into this life and you're a service to others, then we say, okay, well, you're a giver. You're someone who loves humanity, who wants to see the expansion of humanity and the growth of humanity. Those who are service to self are more about their own personal expansion at any cost. So it's still growth to some degree. A service to self entity is trying to harness power for itself and amass all the power it can for itself. So from the perspective of service to self, that seems a good. That is a good thing, to amass all the power and hold it over others. But service to others is where we've decided that no, it's not a good thing overall to try to hoard power over any other and to oppress any other being. And so, if you're listening to me talk about spirituality, to talk about multidimensional life and these really metaphysical spiritual topics, then you are probably a service to others kind of entity. A service to self entity would be interested in those teachers who are talking about how to get away with something, right? How to oppress others, or not, they may be more clever about the language that they use, but basically how to get over, how to trick people into something, right? It's more about I matter more than anybody else, and I'm going to use everything that I can to have everything for me. You know, it's kind of like little kids when you're playing a game and the kids are like, mine, mine, right? Everything is mine. But as kids grow, they realize, oh yes, to share is good. And that's a value we hold as humans mostly. But there are those that are service to self, and they will leech our power. They will leech our energy. And so it is important that we are mindful of the things that we give our attention to, social media, and just, where does your energy go? Do you fall down the rabbit hole of looking at things that are violent or negative? And I mean violent, like are in the news, or what kind of things, what kind of things that get you to click? Because you already know one way you know how the universe works is through the algorithm that we all live with now. You know that once you click on a news story on your phone or your computer, you're going to get more of that. It's the law of attraction, right? Once you click on a thing, then the algorithm, the AI intelligence says, oh, you like that, so I'm going to give you more of it. So what kinds of things get your attention? What kind of things do you keep clicking on? And then as you keep clicking, you get more and more. And sometimes if somebody tells me to look up something on YouTube, look up a certain video, and oh, you got to see this video. And I think to myself, do I want it to interfere with my algorithm? Because I don't want negative things on my algorithm, right? I want to keep a high vibe, a high vibration on my algorithm. So if something is off and takes me down a vibration, then I got to click on more things, right, to get me up again, because I am not trying to live in a world of everything that's going wrong. We kind of know what things are going wrong, right? So I don't want to live I don't want my vibration to constantly be weighed down by clickbait things that talk about something as a scam or something. Like, you got to be careful even of that kind of stuff. Like, this is a scam, or these people lied, or this people, because if you are clicking on how everything is a scam or how everybody is lying, then you're going down the drain. You're going down further and further down, right? Instead of raising your vibration up. So don't even click on those news stories that talk about everything is a scam or somebody's lying or this is revealed, or, like some of the celebrity gossip. Like, you just got to be selective about how much negative celebrity gossip that you give your attention to, because it will, of course, the algorithm will match you with those things. And so I say the entities, the non-physical entities that are service to self, that are leeching our energy, they feed off of that. They feed off of our fear, off of our uncertainty and doubt. So it doesn't really have to be, a monster, right? It is like a certain energy drain that you're giving away. So I deactivated my account on Twitter. It was too depressing. Thanks, the 5-star review. It becomes too depressing. And so, one of the mainstays on my YouTube feed is cat videos. I like cats, and so I watch cat videos. And if I have started clicking on some things that are less than high vibe, then I go back to my cat videos, or I go back to listening to, some high vibe stuff from like Abraham Hicks. Wow, I have 4 cats. Oh, I love that. Tell me about your cats. What are their names? And I love that you're chatting with me, 5-star review. I'd asked people about their sign. I don't know if you were on when I was asking people, what's your sign? I'm a Libra. I have 4 cats. I have had cats all my life. I don't have them now because I have, lost cats, and it's heartbreaking to lose your fur baby. And so I have not gotten another one, but I know I will soon. But anyway, I click on purposely Cinderella, Adam, Eve, and Ghost. Cinderella, Adam, Eve, and Ghost. I love that. I'm a Gemini. Moon sign is the ram. Aries, I'm a Gemini moon. I'm a Gemini moon. You know, the air signs, because Libra, Gemini, and Aquarius are the air signs. And we're intellectual, right? We stay in our minds. We think a lot. We sometimes talk a lot, especially people like, we'll say Geminis talk too much. But you got a lot of things. You think about a lot of things and you chatty. It's okay. But anyway, thanks for sharing that. That's funny. I love your cat names. I had a ragdoll cat named Chloe. Yes, I've learned to be quiet. I know, because somebody, and I'm Libra, air sign, so I talk for a living. I mean, literally, I teach and I do this. I'm always talking for a living, right? And sometimes I have to remind myself, did nobody ask me? Nobody asked me to solve this problem. And then sometimes when I'm having that moment of like, wow, what am I doing with my life? And I was like, you know what? The thing is, I actually get to do what I like to do, which is teaching and talking about spirituality. And there's a lot of people who don't get to work in the area that they really want to work in, right? They're bored to tears by their job, or they just hate their job for whatever reason. And I've been fortunate enough that even when things are challenging and I feel like I don't want to do it anymore, I go, you know what else would you do? I'm always going to be talking about religion and spirituality. I'm always going to be coaching people. I'm always going to be writing about spiritual things. So, and again, because I recognized long ago, I decided long ago, the song lyric, that I am here for the collective. That's just part of the reason that I incarnated into this lifetime, is because part of my journey is to be a person on the spiritual path, helping, guiding, pointing other people along their spiritual path. I mean, I already know this, so fortunately, I get to do it, right? It's not like I have to do it. I get to do it. Let's see, what else I want to talk about. I will just say again, I am. Hello, somebody's talking to me. Hello, doctor. Hello. I don't know how to say what your name is because at signs, but okay. Hello. I'll just say again. I am doing Taha. Okay, hi Taha. I am doing these Sunday live streams. I intend to do weekly or maybe bi-weekly Sunday live streams around 5 or 6 o'clock Eastern time. And I'm doing this because I feel like we can have better community. I can have a chat right here with people. And then I know what you want from me, what you want me to talk about. What do you want me to talk about in terms of spirituality, spiritual awakening? Where are you on your path? What are the things that are of interest to you? And I have opened up my Patreon again. So, because I really want to do that book club. Y'all know I was talking about the book ban and everything, and how people are trying to basically outlaw Black history, right? And I'm not having that on my watch because, again, I'm an educator. And so I want to have our own book club, and I'm calling it the Black Legacy book club and study group, because it is our legacy and we need to study it. We need to keep it alive because people are trying to diminish it. And it is just another level of Jim Crow, right? It is just another way of Jim Crow showing up in our lives to say, like, we don't think your history is worth anything, and we're going to outlaw your history. We're going to ban the books that you want to talk about. Did y'all see in Florida? What was it? So, kids had to bring home a permission slip. And it was a class where the teacher said, we're going to be reading a book by an African American. And so the teacher sent home a permission slip with students. I forget what grade it is, but like elementary school. We're going to be talking about a book by an African American and have a guest speaker. And so the students have to get permission from their parents to hear and read about a book by a Black person. If that's not Jim Crow, I don't know what it is. And, the other thing is Beyonce and her country music album. And you know who are upset. Don't they just stay mad? They just stay mad about all of that. And see, that's what I mean. I get a little bit of the celebrity gossip, But I can't live there. I can't live there. I can't be checking about all these things because I'm staying on my spiritual high vibe because that's what I came here to do. I mean, came into this life to do. So I realized that at some point, and I said, "Well, God, I guess you're using me. I guess, and you're going to always remind me of what I'm supposed to be doing." How many know if you don't follow the guidance, if you pray for guidance, if you just ask for help comes and you don't pay attention, what's about to happen? God is giving you these little nudges. Come this way, go right, not left. God is giving you the nudges. And if you don't pay attention to the nudges, what's going to happen next? It's going to be a very hard lesson, right? Can I have any guidance or read for betterment? In what way, Taha? I mean, have to give me something more specific. I do have I created, when did I create that, y'all? Over the summer? When was that? Earlier in the year, I created a reading list for Black history and Black religion, career or money. Can I have any guidance or read for betterment, career or money? Mm. Well, I guess it depends on what you mean exactly. Like, like career counseling or like the spirituality of how to determine, like how to determine your next step. You got to make that more specific. Also, this is obviously a channel about religion, spirituality, metaphysics. So in that realm, because anything, whatever is most beneficial. There is a book that I like a lot. It is called the War of Art. The War of Art. I'm typing it. And it is by Stephen Pressfield. The War of Art. And it is about getting your mind right so that you can focus on what you're supposed to be doing. Get your mind right for what you're supposed to be doing. And once you eliminate distractions, you can focus on what you are supposed to be doing. It's very good. It's very short because it's really like little like this. You can read it in a day. Because mostly we get in our own way. We are our own worst distraction, right? They call it doom scrolling now. Like we spend so much time being distracted. And so once you realize, wow, I'm the one in my own way, then you can start making some progress towards what it is you really want to be doing. And then figure out why you're not doing it so you can. Hi, Coley Cole. Let me see what 5-star review wrote. Since I've been on my journey, I've had to let some people go. They were a distraction. I had to put my right brain down for a bit. That's thetruth.com. I've had to let some people go. Sometimes people are not willing to let people go. I used to say this. Well, I get frustrated because I've been giving so much to people, answering questions that haven't been answered. Answering questions that haven't been asked of me. And I would get to where I'm like, the University of Darnise is closed. No. What it really meant was I cannot be here for people who are not trying to be on the move too. If we're not in alignment, then I can't carry you with me. I can maybe point out some things to you, point you in a direction, but I can only move with people who are in alignment. So now I say, listen, when my train comes, when my boat comes, I'm getting on it because I have to stay moving and evolving too. If you want to hang, come with. If you can't, if you don't want to, I understand and no judgment. but I can't miss my train and I can't miss my boat from waiting for you. And see, earlier in life, or at any point in life, people will get distracted by another person trying to wait for them. Right? You know what I mean? You will be trying to wait for somebody else to get better, do better. You'll be thinking they have so much potential. I'm trying to help them. Well, you can help people, but not to your own detriment. Right? When your boat comes in, when your train arrives, you have to go with it. That's a note from the universe. That is your own guidance showing up saying to you, it's time to move forward. But if you insist on trying to bring somebody else and it's not their time or it's not their direction, you'll miss your train, you'll miss your boat. And I said, I am not missing my train. I'm sorry, I might love you to death, but I can't miss my train. I'll be on the train saying, come on, come on. But I have to understand too, it's not everybody's train. It's not their boat. It's not their time. They're not in alignment with that yet. Or I'm not in alignment with where they're trying to go. And we have to part company. So yeah, 5-star review, you said I've had to let some people go. And that's part of maturing sometimes, is to realize we are not aligned, especially if it's a love relationship. Whew. If it's a love relationship, sometimes I have your heart. Or if it's a parent, child, but you have to trust the universe. You have to say, I'm going to trust God. I'm going to pray over your life. But it looks like we've gone as far together as we can. We've gone as far together as we can. Right? Oh, that's what God is telling me now. Get rid of your distractions. Yeah. And so that book, The War of Art, because you got to go to war. It's like you got to almost go to war with yourself in order to be able to pursue your art broadly speaking. In this case, he's a screenwriter, but whatever your thing is that you do in life, what is your vocation? What is your career? How do you want to make money, or how do you just want to fulfill yourself? Well, you might be having an internal battle, internal war, because you are distracted, because you're afraid, because you feel like you don't have enough, this, that, the other, all these distractions. And so you have to kind of fight yourself in order to get to doing what you want to do. And I hate to say it that way, fight yourself, but at least awaken within yourself. Awaken within yourself and say, I have been my own worst distraction. And it's just the truth sometimes. All right, I think I'm going to wrap up this session here. I don't know if Taha is still on here, career or money. I'm trying to think of something else for, I also talk about candle magic on here. So Taha, if that orange candle, orange and green candles, orange candles to open the way, open the doors of opportunity, open the way with orange candles. And of course, green candles for money. So I'm always going to give you that too. But let me know, even after this live stream is over, in the chat, what are the topics that you would like for me to talk about more on these live streams? And let me see what else. Don't forget about Patreon, consults. Okay, if you insist. There's a link there for consult. And, they cost a little bit of money, not that much. Because my fee for my ongoing clients is a lot, I'll say. All right. Anything else before we get out of here? Otherwise, I will intend to be back here next Sunday, again, about 5 or 6 Eastern time. Y'all used to live in California, so I said Pacific. Eastern time. Okay. I appreciate y'all for showing up. Yes, let's make this a habit, shall we? All right. Bye for now.